If you have ever asked who decided which books belong in the Bible, the answer you were probably given goes something like this. A group of bishops sat down at the Council of Nicaea in 325, went through every book, voted on which ones were scripture and which ones were not, and the result is the Bible you can buy in any bookshop today. It is a clean story. It has a room, a date, a decision, and a result, and almost none of it is true. The Council of Nicaea did happen. It was convened by Constantine. Bishops attended from across the Roman Empire. They debated and they voted. But what they voted on was the nature of Christ, specifically whether the Son was of the same substance as the Father or a different substance. The word they argued over was homoousios. They did not discuss which books should be in the Bible. The subject does not appear in any surviving record of the council, not one line. The idea that Nicaea decided the canon is a modern invention, and it is everywhere. Hold that, the most widely believed story about how the Bible was assembled never happened at all. Here is the ground we are going to cover. What actually decided which books went in and which stayed out, which was not a vote. The three tests that a text had to pass, which were not written down as rules until after the process was largely finished. The books that nearly made it in, which are still readable today, and the date the question was actually settled, which was not a single date at all. Start with what existed before anyone made a list. In the 1st century, the early Christian communities had letters. Paul's letters were circulating within 20 years of the crucifixion. The Gospels were written between roughly 65 and 100. These texts were copied by hand and passed between churches. There was no central authority distributing an approved collection. Each community read what it had. By the middle of the 2nd century, roughly 100 years after the crucifixion, several things had happened. The 4 Gospels we now have, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were in widespread use. Paul's letters were being collected and copied as a group. And other texts were also circulating. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Peter, the Shepherd of Hermas, the Didache, the Epistle of Barnabas. Some of these were read in churches alongside the texts that would later be called Scripture. Nobody had drawn a line. The first known attempt to draw a line came from the wrong direction. Around 140, a man named Marcion assembled his own list of approved books. Marcion rejected the entire Old Testament and accepted only an edited version of Luke and 10 of Paul's letters. The mainstream churches rejected Marcion as a heretic, but his list forced a question that had not been urgent before. If Marcion's list was wrong, what was the right one? What followed was not a conference. It was a gradual convergence over roughly 200 years. Different bishops and theologians in different cities made lists of the books they considered reliable. These lists agreed on most books and disagreed on a few. The process that produced agreement was not a vote, it was usage. The books that were read in the most churches, copied the most times, and cited the most frequently by the most respected teachers, gradually became the core of a shared collection. 3 informal tests emerged over time, though they were never codified as formal rules. The first was apostolicity. Was the book written by an apostle or by someone closely associated with an apostle? Mark was accepted because tradition linked him to Peter. Luke was accepted because tradition linked him to Paul. The second test was orthodoxy. Did the teaching in the book agree with what the churches already believed? A text that contradicted the established teaching was suspect regardless of who wrote it. The third test was Catholicity, meaning universal use. Was the book read widely, in churches across the known world, or only in one region? Hold those three tests: apostolicity, orthodoxy, Catholicity. They explain every decision that followed, including the ones people still argue about. The books that nearly made it are instructive. The Shepherd of Hermas was read in churches for centuries. Athanasius, who wrote the most important list in the canon's history, excluded it. The Didache, a manual of church practice, was used as if it were scripture in parts of Egypt and Syria. It did not make the final cut. First Clement, a letter from the church in Rome to the church in Corinth, was included in some early Bibles and excluded from others. The Epistle of Barnabas appeared in the Codex Sinaiticus, one of the oldest complete Bibles we have, but was eventually excluded. The books that people most often ask about are the ones excluded more decisively. The Gospel of Thomas is a collection of 114 sayings attributed to Jesus. It has no narrative, no crucifixion, no resurrection. It failed the orthodoxy test. The Gospel of Peter includes a talking cross. The Acts of Paul and Thecla includes a woman baptizing herself. These were read in some communities, but were never close to universal acceptance. The list that comes closest to a definitive moment is the one written by Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria, in his Easter letter of 367. Athanasius listed the 27 books that now make up the New Testament and wrote, "In these alone, the teaching of godliness is proclaimed. Do not add to them, do not take away from them. It is the first list that matches the modern New Testament exactly." But even after Athanasius, the question was not fully settled everywhere. The churches in Syria used a shorter canon for centuries. The Ethiopian church includes books that no other tradition accepts. The Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox Bibles disagree on the Old Testament to this day. The Protestant Old Testament has 39 books, the Catholic has 46, the Ethiopian has 81. There is one more thing worth knowing, and it is the thing that surprises people the most. The question of which books belong in the Bible has never been answered the same way by every Christian tradition. The disagreement is not about the New Testament, where the 27 books have been stable since the 4th century. The disagreement is about the Old Testament. When the Protestant reformers of the 16th century looked at the Old Testament, they noticed that the Hebrew Bible used by Jewish communities contained fewer books than the Greek translation, the Septuagint, that had been used by the early church. The extra books included Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Sirach, Baruch, and 1st and 2nd Maccabees. Martin Luther moved these to a separate section and called them useful and good to read, but not equal to the Holy Scriptures. Later Protestant Bibles dropped them entirely. The Catholic Church, at the Council of Trent in 1546, declared them canonical. The Orthodox churches include some of them and add a few more. The result is that a Protestant Bible, a Catholic Bible, and an Orthodox Bible, purchased in the same year from the same publisher in the same city, contain different books. And the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church goes further still. Its biblical canon includes 81 books. Among them is the Book of Enoch, a text that describes the fall of the angels and the origins of evil. It was widely read in the early centuries and is quoted in the New Testament epistle of Jude. Nearly every other tradition excluded it. Ethiopia kept it. What decided the canon was not a meeting, it was time. The books that were read the most, copied the most, and trusted the most, over the longest period, in the widest range of communities, became the Bible. The process took roughly 300 years. Nobody ran it, nobody chaired it, nobody held a vote. And the result was not a single Bible, but several, and the differences between them are still there. Sources: Bruce M. Metzger, The Canon of the New Testament, Its Origin, Development and Significance, 1987. F. F. Bruce, The Canon of Scripture, 1988. Athanasius of Alexandria, Festal Letter 39, 367 CE. Lee Martin MacDonald, The Biblical Canon, Its Origin, Transmission and Authority, 2007. Bart D. Ehrman, Lost Scriptures, Books That Did Not Make It into the New Testament, 2003. Council of Nicaea Records in Eusebius, Vita Constantini and Socrates Scholasticus, Ecclesiastical History,